At my sister's birthday, she whispered to her friend, "I'd never want him as the father of my kids. My ex has better genes. Honestly, I'd rather let my ex plant the seed and make him water the garden." My sister heard every word. I just smiled. But when she showed up weeks later, my family made sure she never forgot what she said. My family is my foundation. We're a loud, close-knit Italian-American family, where loyalty isn't just a word, it's the air we breathe. My sister Maria is my best friend. My parents are my heroes. We've been through everything together. So when I brought my girlfriend of 2 years, Stephanie, into that circle, I was making the biggest statement of trust I possibly could. I thought she understood that. I thought she valued it. Stephanie and I had a good relationship, or so I believed. We lived together in a house. I owned a place I'd worked my entire life to afford. The financial arrangement was straightforward. I handled the mortgage and major bills for my construction business, and she contributed a smaller, agreed-upon amount for utilities and groceries from her job at a high-end art gallery. It felt balanced. I saw it as me providing a stable home, and her being a partner in building our life within it. I now realize she saw it as a temporary arrangement, until something better came along. Her own family is very different from mine. They're wealthy, cold, and obsessed with lineage and status. They never approved of me, contractor with callous hands. They saw me as beneath their daughter. I always thought Stephanie was different, that she had rejected their superficial values, but a person's true character, I've learned, always reveals itself. Eventually, the revelation came last weekend at my sister Maria's 30th birthday party. It was a big, chaotic, wonderful affair in my parents' backyard. The whole family was there. Aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone. Stephanie was for most of the night playing the part of the perfect girlfriend. She was charming to my aunts, laughed at my dad's terrible jokes, and helped my mom clear plates. Later in the evening, I was inside talking to my uncle. When the incident happened, Stephanie was standing near the patio with her best friend, a woman named Qley, who radiates the same privileged condescension as Stephanie as parents. They were watching me play with my 2 young nephews. They thought they were speaking quietly in a little bubble of their own superiority. But my sister Maria was just inside the sliding glass door, grabbing a bottle of wine. The door was open a crack. She heard every single venomous word. According to Maria, Qley gestured towards me and my nephews and said something about me looking domesticated. Stephanie had laughed. A sound, Maria said, was cold and dismissive. Then she leaned in and delivered the line that detonated our entire relationship. "Please," Stephanie had whispered. "I'd never want him as the father of my kids. Is has better genes. Honestly, I'd rather let my ex plant the seed and make him water the garden." My sister stood there, frozen, the wine bottle cold in her hand. She watched as Stephanie and Qley shared a smug little laugh, completely unaware. They had been overheard. To Stephanie, I wasn't a potential father or a life partner. I was a gardener, a caretaker, a dumb, useful tool to provide for a child that wasn't even mine. It was a level of cold, calculated cruelty that was almost psychopathic. Maria found me a few minutes later. Her face was pale, and her eyes were blazing. She pulled me into the house, into the quiet of my dad's study, and told me what she had heard. She repeated the words verbatim: "Plant the seed, water the garden." As I listened, something inside me didn't break. It hardened. It crystallized into a single cold point of absolute certainty. The love, the affection, the hope I had for a future with Stephanie. It all vanished. It was replaced by a profound, chilling calm. This wasn't a breakup. This was a strategic removal of a threat. I walked out of the study and back into the party. I saw Stephanie across the yard, laughing with her friend. I just smiled. Calm, pleasant, completely unreadable smile. I walked over, put my arm around her and kissed her on the cheek. "Having fun?" I asked. "The best," she said, beaming up at me, completely oblivious. My sister was watching me, a worried look on her face. I caught her eye and gave her a slow, deliberate nod. She understood the war had begun. And it wasn't just my war, an insult that deep. That fundamental wasn't just against me. It was against my entire family. My family does not lose. Update 1. The day after my sister's party was a Sunday. I woke up early and went to my parents' house. Stephanie was still asleep, none the wiser. I sat at the kitchen table with my mom, my dad, and Maria. I told them the full story again, and I told them my plan. My mom, a woman who is usually the gentlest soul on the planet, had a look on her face I had never seen before. It was the look of a mother bear whose cub had just been threatened. My dad, a man of few words, just clenched his fists and said, "What do you need from us?" The plan was simple in its concept, but it required the full participation of my family to achieve the desired emotional impact. Stephanie had insulted my genes, my lineage, my very worth as a man. So my family was going to be the instrument of her downfall. The revenge had to be personal, thematic, and delivered with the cold precision of a surgeon. We decided to throw her a surprise party, a fake early birthday party. Her birthday was still a month away. We would sell it as a gesture of how much we as a family had come to love her. The theme of the party would be celebrating our future. It was perfect in its irony. Maria, my brilliant sister, took charge of the logistics. She was practically vibrating with righteous fury. She spent the next 2 weeks planning the event with the meticulous detail of ad day invasion. She designed and sent out invitations to our entire extended family. The dress code was garden party chic. While she handled the party, I handled the home front. I started the process of legally and financially disentangle myself from Stephanie. I met with my lawyer and drew up a formal eviction. Notice the house was in my name, purchased years before I met her. She was a tenant, nothing more. My lawyer confirmed that a 30-day notice was all that was legally required. I also did a deep dive into our finances. As I suspected, her contributions to the household had been dwindling over the past 6 months. She was constantly forgetting to transfer her share of the bills. I created a detailed spreadsheet, documenting the thousands of dollars she was in arrears. This wasn't just about the money. It was about establishing a clear legal pattern of her failure to hold up her end of our agreement. At home, I was the perfect, doting boyfriend. I was more attentive than ever. I brought her flowers. I made her favorite meals. I told her how much my family had loved seeing her at the party. She completely bought it. Her ego was so inflated that she saw my behavior not as suspicious, but as her just desserts. She thought I was finally realizing how lucky I was to have her. 2 weeks before the surprise party, Maria told Stephanie the good news. She called her gushing with excitement. "Stephanie, we all had so much fun with you at my party. My parents just adore you. We want to throw you an early birthday party to officially welcome you into the family." Stephanie was ecstatic. A party in her honor thrown by the family she secretly despised. It was the ultimate validation of her perceived superiority. She spent the next 2 weeks shopping for the perfect dress, talking endlessly about the party and posting vague, smug updates on social media about how she was so blessed to be welcomed into such a loving family. The irony was so thick it was suffocating. The day of the party arrived. It was a perfect sunny Saturday. My parents' backyard had been transformed. Maria had gone all out. There were flowers everywhere, elegant decorations, and a beautiful catered lunch. It looked like a scene from a magazine. Stephanie arrived looking like a queen, Qley, her friend in tow. She was greeted with hugs and kisses from my entire family. My aunts told her how beautiful she looked. My uncles complimented her dress. My parents treated her like the daughter they had always wanted. She was glowing, soaking in the adoration, completely unaware that she was the guest of honor at her own execution. Update 2. The party was a master class in psychological warfare. For 2 hours, my family laid it on thick. They toasted Stephanie. They praised her. They made her feel like the most important person in the world. I watched her ego inflate like a hot air balloon. She was holding court, telling stories and laughing that cold, dismissive laugh, feeling completely secure in her position. The main event was scheduled for 3 p.m. My sister Maria clicked a glass to get everyone's attention. Everyone. She announced, her voice full of fake cheer. "It's time for the gifts. Stephanie, we wanted to give you something to show you how much you mean to us, and how excited we are for your future with my brother." Stephanie sat in a chair we had placed in the center of the patio, a literal throne for her own humiliation. My mom came out first holding a large, beautifully wrapped gift. "Stephanie," my mom said, her voice thick with a carefully rehearsed emotion, "we know how much you value family and good genes. We wanted to give you this." Stephanie unwrapped the gift. Inside was a large, expensive-looking silver picture frame. But the picture in the frame was not of me and her. It was a professionally shot 8x10 glossy photo of her ex-boyfriend, the one with the better genes. We had found it on his social media. A wave of confused silence washed over the party guests who weren't in on the plan. Stephanie just stared at the photo, her smile frozen on her face. I don't understand." She staggered. "We heard you were an admirer of his genetic profile." My dad said, his voice completely deadpan. We thought you'd like to have a picture for inspiration." Before she could respond, Maria came forward with the second gift. It was a large, beautifully decorated cake. As she placed it on the table in front of Stephanie, everyone could read the elegant script on top. It said, "Good luck with the seed." Tiffany's face went white. She looked from the cake to the picture, and then around at my family. The warm, welcoming smiles were gone. They were replaced by cold, unified, and utterly unforgiving stares. The mask of our hospitality had been dropped, and then it was my turn. I walked up to her not with a gift, but with two simple objects in my hand. One was a small, cheap gardening trowel. The other was a packet of flower seeds. I knelt down in front of her, just as she was starting to hyperventilate. I held out the items to her. "Stephanie," I said, my voice quiet but carrying in the sudden dead silence of the backyard. "You talked about letting another man plant the seed and having me water the garden." I placed the trout on the seed packet in her lap. "Here are your tools." I said, "The garden is officially closed." I stood up and pulled a folded document from my pocket. I handed it to her. It was the 30-day eviction notice. "You have 1 month to find a new plot of land." I said. She just sat there, paralyzed. The eviction notice in one hand, the picture of her ex-boyfriend on the table, and the seed packet in her lap. Her friend Qley looked like she had seen a ghost, and my family. They just stood there, a silent, unmovable wall of solidarity behind me. No one screamed. We just watched her. We let her sit in the wreckage of the life she had just lost, a life she had thrown away with a single whispered, cruel sentence. The silence was her judgment, and it was absolute final update. The meltdown was, for lack of a better word, biblical. After about 30 seconds of stunned silence, Stephanie let out a scream of pure rage. She threw the trowel. She knocked over the picture of her ex. She started screaming that we were all insane, that we had twisted her words, that it was just a joke. Qley, her loyal friend, tried to rush to her side, but my sister Maria stepped in her way. "I don't think so," Maria said, her voice like ice. "You've enjoyed our hospitality for the last time. It's time for you to leave." The party ended abruptly. Our other guests, who had been utterly bewildered, quickly and quietly made their exits. Tiffany's parents were called, and they arrived to find their daughter having a full-blown hysterical fit in my parents' backyard. Her father started threatening lawsuits. Her mother was crying. It was a mess. But it was their mess. We just watched, unmoved. The next month was a slow, satisfying burn. Stephanie moved out of my house that very night, not even waiting for the 30 days. She couldn't stand to be there. She left most of her things, which I had professionally packed and sent to her parents' address. I included a final invoice for the money she owed me for the bills. The legal threats, as expected, went nowhere. My lawyer informed her lawyer that any legal action would be met with a countersuit for defamation, and that we had over a dozen witnesses from the party who would be happy to testify about her behavior and the events that transpired. They dropped the matter immediately. The social fallout was brutal for her. The story of the garden party spread like a legend. My sister, a master of social media, made sure the true, unvarnished version of events was the one that everyone heard. She didn't have to be vicious. She just had to state the facts. She posted a beautiful picture of our family from the party, with a simple caption. "So proud of my family, we believe in loyalty, respect, and always tending to our own garden." It was a masterpiece of subtle shade. Stephanie's reputation was ruined. She was seen as a cruel, calculating user. Her high society friends, who value image above all, slowly started to distance themselves from her. Being associated with that kind of ugly public drama was bad for their brand. Her ex-boyfriend, the one with the better genes, also heard the story. He was reportedly furious and disgusted that she had used him in her pathetic games. He posted a public statement on his social media saying he had not spoken to Stephanie in years and wished to be completely disassociated from her. That was a blow she never saw coming. I saw her once about 2 months ago. I was at a restaurant with some clients. She was there on a date with some new guy who looked just like her father. She saw me, and the color drained from her face. She looked away immediately. Confident, arrogant woman I had known was gone. She just looked small and bitter. My life, on the other hand, has been peaceful. The experience, as painful as it was, a necessary fire. It burned away the lies and left me with the truth. And the truth is, my family is my everything. Their love and loyalty are the foundation of my life. I'm not dating anyone right now. I'm taking some time for myself. I'm focusing on my business. spending time with my family, and enjoying the simple, honest life that I've built. I learned that you can't build a future with someone who is secretly trying to undermine your past. You can't build a home with someone who sees you as just the hired help. She wanted a man with better genes. I just wanted a partner with a better heart, and I have no doubt that I'll find one.